And welcome to episode 23 of Miss Holcomb's math class.
There we go. Angle pairs. We are going to skip the entire top portion because it says use a protractor to measure. We will come back to it and just talk about what vocab words the angles are, but we're not measuring the top part. This paper has a lot of really important vocab words that are going to come up over and over and over this semester. Okay? So this is another one of those really important sheets that has the groundwork for helping you the rest of the semester. I want you to highlight adjacent angles, vertical angles. Now this one's tricky. I only want you to highlight linear pair. Don't highlight the word angles there. There's a reason, and I'll tell you why. Well, that would be why I couldn't find my answers.
You're welcome.
Where'd that extra sheet go? Okay. That takes away all the thought process. It's all right. I already made another answer. Yeah, you can.
There, maybe.
Let's try this again. Pass this over to her, please. Highlight those vocab words. Now go to the back. Highlight supplementary angles and complementary angles. Guys, remember, if you're going to sit there, supplementary and complementary, and that's it for in terms of highlighting. You're highlighting the vocab words. The only one that's tricky is where it says linear pair. I do not want you to highlight the word angles on that one. Okay. We're skipping the part about the protractor. We're going to come back and we're going to name those angles once we learn these vocab words. Okay, adjacent angles. You're going to hear this a lot. You should, the name adjacent should help you understand that it means side by side. Okay, so they have something in common. It is Whoa. Let's try again. Hold on, I got this. Here we go. All right, it is angles. I said who. It should be that. We're not talking about people. Angles that share a common ray. Yeah. So if you look at this picture right here, I want you to take your pencil or colored pen and I want you to darken the ray that is right in the middle that they have in common. I want you to darken that ray. Because angle 1 and angle 2 have that purple ray in common, they are called adjacent. Now there's no math behind when they're adjacent. If you know two angles are adjacent, it just means they're side by side. There's no secret number involved. It just means they have a common ray. Alright? Next vocab word, and this one is the most important. Vertical angles. It is angles formed by the intersection of two lines. And then right here in big letters, I want you to put note. They are congruent. Here's why vertical angles are so important, because there is a secret number attached to it. If I tell you that you have vertical angles in front of you, it means that you have two congruent angles. And you want to go in and you want to mark them. And that comes into play with the stuff we're going to do. So look at this. You have two lines crossing. how many angles are formed? 4. The angles that are back to back, like back to back V's, are the vertical angles. So for instance, angle 1 is back to angle 3, and they are congruent because they're vertical. Another way to think of it is, think of it like a double-sided flashlight. It's the angles on the complete opposite ends, okay? So like a double-sided flashlight, angle 2 would be congruent to angle 4. Okay? So let's make that note here. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, and angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. Anytime 2 lines cross, bam, vertical angles. Every time. All day, every day. And they're always the ones that are like the back-to-back V. When I say that, I mean like if I trace angle 1, and then if I trace angle 3, V's, back-to-back V's are what I'm talking about. Now let's practice with what you just covered. We have 3 practice problems here. Well, only one of those vocab words had a number tied to it, and that was vertical. It was just that if you have vertical angles, they're congruent. Look at number 1. You have 2 straight lines crossing. This angle here is 52. And it's directly, think of a double-sided flashlight, it's directly opposite of the X. So X would measure 52, right? 52? Number 2 is not asking you to find any measures because there's none given. It's just saying which ones would be vertical. You have to be careful to make sure you're looking for the 2 straight lines. So find the 2 straight lines. Now take your eyes and find the 2 vertical angles that are between the straight lines. Do you have an answer? What pair of angles would be considered vertical here? Yes. Now, if you didn't see that, look, if I trace this line here, and if I trace this line here, what angle is definitely touching both of those lines? 2 and 3 and 4, but which ones are the back-to-back double-sided flashlight? 2 and 4. So 2 is congruent to 4. Now, can you tell me what angle 3, 1, and 5, what the relationship would be? 1 and 5 are adjacent. If 2 and 4 are equal, 3 has to equal 1 plus 5. Yes. Whatever angle 1 and 5 were would have to add up to be the same as 3. Do you see that? All right. Number 3 is a polynomial expression. Try it. You have to ask yourself, what's the relationship? Well, they're what type of angles? They're vertical because they're right in between 2 straight lines. Vertical angles are congruent. You're going to get tired of me asking that, but it's because it's so important. Vertical angles are congruent. So this has to equal this. So what's my equation?
3x minus 8 equals x minus.
Yeah, you're going to set these 2 things equal to each other. So, and actually, looking at the next problem, y'all go ahead and make the exchange. 7?
Yes, ma'am.
Did y'all get 7? Everybody? so the word adjacent angles is just to let you recognize when angles are adjacent. There's no math behind it. The word vertical angles is very important. There is math behind it. It's that they are congruent. You need to be able to recognize vertical angles. It's kind of the opposite of adjacent because they're completely polar opposites after two straight lines have been drawn. Okay? Make sure they are straight lines. Be careful. Like number 2 was to help you recognize when something's not vertical. It has to be two straight lines. All right. This next vocab word is something you've already been doing, you just didn't know the vocab word tied to it. Linear pair means when two adjacent angles, form a straight line, hence the name linear. Linear means line, right? It's the pairing of angles to draw a straight line. All right, so let's write the definition. It's adjacent, C, E, adjacent angles that form a straight line, which is actually called a straight angle because there is a measurement tied to it. How many degrees is from one side of this line to the other? 180. So I'm going to put right there 180. When I say.
What did you say?
Yeah. All right, so angle 1 plus angle 2 has to equal 180 degrees here. That's the relationship. Okay? 2 practice problems. Let's try them. The first one should be a piece of cake because there's no polynomial expression. You do have a straight line. This angle here is 85. So angle x would have to be 180 minus 85, which is 95. Next practice problem does involve some polynomials, and it actually does not stop at just y. It says find the measure of each angle. So everyone try that right now. You are prepping for your next quiz. As you are doing these practice problems, you're trying the same type of questions that are going to be on the next quiz. Okay? So make sure you're trying. Your quiz will most likely be tomorrow because it's going to cover what we did last week and this. If you need a refresher of last week, that's why you have your handy dandy notebook. So set up your equation. Look at the relationship. They have to add to equal. They're going to add to equal 180. Don't you dare set these equal to each other. There's no way that these are equal. This is clearly obtuse and this one's clearly acute. Yes, ma'am, and I have them. Period. I was going to bring them to you. There was papers on that desk, on that table. Yeah, they were sitting right here. I wonder if Luke took them. Luke was sitting there. All right, everybody try it. So the relationship is that those two angles are side by side. They share ray EG. and they form the straight angle DEF, so they add up to equal 180. They add to equal 180, right? What'd you get? 45.5. Now, how do we go back and find the measure of the two angles? Yeah, you just plug it in. So you go to your calculator and do 3 times 45.5 minus 8. Then you would do 45.5 plus 6. Did you get 128.5 and 51.5? Perfect. Not yet. All right, go to the back. We've got complementary and supplementary. Actually, I don't know why they don't start with complementary. They go straight to supplementary. Oh, I know why, because of linear pair. All right, so we just talked about linear pair, right? That's when angles form a straight line. The name should tell you what they form. If angles are a linear pair, they add up to equal 180. There's a math word for that. It's called supplementary. Supplementary means you're saying that if I take these angles and add them together, it's always going to equal 180. So let's make a note. Angles whose sum, remember that means add, put underneath it add, is always 180. Now there's two ways it could be presented. One way, they're side by side in the same picture, like in this picture here, angle 1 and angle 2. It's clear that they add up to 180. Or they could be disjoint and the numbers add to 180, so then you would still be able to say, hey, they're supplementary. Okay? Do number 6. Did you get 55? Go through Algebra 2 and take the acuplacement test. Acuplacer test. You just let, well, it depends on your math skills. You let your counselor know. Well, it is college. It's, you won't see any like number 6. So it's the same foundation of algebra, it's just more intense on steroids.
So what is it? What's the concept?
There's college algebra and then there's college pre-cal. Pre-cal's over what we are going to actually get into when we start right triangle trig.
Can you take both while you're here? Can you take college algebra and college pre-cal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the next vocab word. We're skipping because those 3 practice problems are your homework, your independent practice. Look at the next vocab word. It says complementary. That word should ring a bell. It was in your maze. It sneaked by me. Snuck by me. Complementary means angles add to 90. So we're going to write angles whose sum, once again that means plus, is always 90 degrees. They could be adjacent, and it would help to draw the right angle symbol, or they could be disjoint, but they add to 90. Okay? Supplementary adds to 180. Complementary adds to 90. Let me show you a trick on how to remember which one's which. Watch this. I want you to draw an S and then a C. An S and then a C. For the first letter of the words, right? Look at the C. I can make a C into a 9, and I can make an S into an 8. That's how you remember that complementary adds to 90, supplementary adds to 180. Your practice assignment is the 6 remaining problems, and then I would love for you to try the 12 remaining problems. Your practice assignment is 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, I guess 10. What'd you get for 10? Did y'all try it?
Whatever it is,
18, yeah. And then these down here, it's saying to make a statement of it's always true, sometimes true, or it's never true. That's your practice assignment tonight, guys.